need a 30 for 30 to show that I'm different like Jordan and Pippen. I need a 30 for 30 like Jalen and Webber. Nobody gon' fuck on my clip. I need a 30 for 30. All right, America, I'm glad to have my brother Ray Caesar Leo here with us for another one of Ray's takes. And I think my brother is feeling kind of good about the Cowboys draft. So let's see what he says about how the boys did in the draft. Ray, what you got for him this week?
Well, first things first, it's amazing, you know, what 48 to 72 hours can do when you get a chance to sit back and reflect, right? Had we filmed this on Thursday, it would have been a totally different outlook than what you're about to get right now. Because as a fan, it's like I always tell y'all, I approach the Dallas Cowboys in two different ways, as a fan, but then as a realist. You know what I mean? So I was in that fan mode on Thursday night, and I slowly transitioned back into the realist mode. What I mean by that is, you know, I told my wife before the draft started, my wife, as y'all know, is a diehard Cowboys fan too, we really can't lose, right? And I really felt that way after the 49ers picked up Trey Lance. I was like, man, at this point, we got exactly what we need. Kyle Pitts is going to go to Atlanta. It's all good. We can either get one of the two, you know, star stud cornerbacks, or we can get one of the offensive linemen out of Penny Sewell and Slater out of Northwestern. I'm like, man, we can't lose, right? Well, little did I know that the other teams had done their homework, right? I talked about last week, you know, the top tier teams are the ones that do their homework and know what they want to do with their culture. I don't consider Denver to have a strong culture right now, but they proved me wrong. And when it got Surtain, I thought that was an excellent pickup by them. I thought J.C. Horn going to the Carolina Panthers, that's great moves. They know that those guys can be in the league for 7 to 10 years. It hurts me, though, because I'm sitting at the house at that point like, man, I'm crushed a little bit. I'm like, all right, well, if we can't get two stud DBs, then at least we can get a guy like Slater out of Northwestern that can play on the line, right? Any position on the line. And then at that point, I'm saying protect your most valued investment. You gave Dak the world, protect the world. That's just my philosophy. And then we go and pick up my guy, Micah Parsons. My initial reaction was one of slight rage, man. I'll be honest with you. Because
ain't no slight.
Because
it's weird hearing him call him my guy right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm going to get to it. Because I'm going to get to that reason why. My initial reaction with this, and some of this is still true. Linebackers in today's NFL don't change the game. I really feel that way. All right. Outside linebackers do. Edge rushing, outside linebackers do. But the days of Luke Kuechly, who's retired, Bobby Wagner, who's, you know, to me, kind of washed up right now, those days are done in today's NFL because the game is played on the outside and is played down the field vertically with the passing game. So I said to myself, man, I really don't like this pick. My uncle, who y'all know, is probably more so than me, right? So we went back and forth via text, and I'm like, man, this is horrible. We should have just went with the safe pick and Slater, blah, blah, blah. He's like, man, you got to understand that this linebacker is different. I don't care if he's different. That's what I'm telling him. I don't care if he's different. What can he do for me on third down, right? Okay, so that was my Thursday wrap up. Wells, to his credit, gave me some things. Y'all gave me some things in the group text. I said, let me go and do homework on two different things. Let me do homework on this young man and Micah Parsons, and then let me do some homework on what the Cowboys lacked in 2020. Now, across the board, the defense was trash. Like, nobody on the defense should be walking around saying that, you know, I play defense for the Dallas Cowboys, right? They should walk around and just say, I play for the Cowboys. And when they ask you what you play, I play for the Cowboys. Everybody. But what I noticed in those games is, you know, I was complaining about what happens when you get to third down. What I was ignoring was not only were they getting to third down and couldn't get off the field, the reason why they couldn't is because it wasn't 3rd and 8s that I was seeing. It was 3rd and 3s. Well, how did you get to 3rd and 3s? They were running it down your throat. We couldn't stop anything in the run game, right? So I started going back and doing some homework on the stats. Second worst defense in rushing yards. Second worst defense in first down allowed. 7th worst defense in rushing touchdowns. The passing defense actually was in the top 10. So I actually had it wrong. Right? Well, we drafted with Micah Parsons, not only Micah Parsons, but Jerry Jones, and I'm about to give Jerry Jones credit. Good Lord, forgive me for this one.
Yeah, it is.
right? The defensive tackle out of UCLA, the defensive lineman out of Iowa, and Chauncey Golston. They really made a concerted effort to say, we're getting gashed in the run game right up the middle, right? That's where they were killing us. Not so much on the edge, because we did have speed on the edge to get to guys right up the middle. Jerry Jones and his son Steven made a concerted effort in the first 4 picks to go defense all the way through. Now, I think he made a little bit of a jump in his DB in the second round, and Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky, but I get it. He's an SEC guy. He ran a 4.3 40, right? So he's got the speed. He's a playmaking guy, but he only played like 9 games because he got kicked out when he was at LSU. But when he was playing for Kentucky now, he was balling. I think he had like 5 or 6 picks in 9 games. So the guy, it's a huge risk reward type of thing. You know what I mean? The rest of the picks, once you get past the 4th and 5th round, I don't really put much stock in that. Those are field guys. But I will say this: if you're filling out your roster, you fill it with things that you need. So the guy that complained about needing offensive linemen because we played without our starting O-line for like half the season, right? Starting left tackle Tyron Smith hadn't played a full season since 2015. La'el Collins on the right side, right tackle, missed the entire season with hip surgery. Zach Martin, who's normally my all-pro guard, missed half the season. My center retired. My backup center got hurt, right? So all of these guys are in flux. Jerry might not have gotten the guy that I wanted in the first round, but at least he understood as we get deeper in this draft, I need to get depth. And he got guys that can play in multiple positions. Guys, all in all, Jerry Jones did exactly what I thought he wouldn't do. I came on here last week and I said that he will, get out here and make a ridiculous trade for Kyle Pitts, like sell the farm, or he'll just make a jump for somebody that you've never heard of. I might not have been as familiar with Micah Parsons, but after going back and watching the tape, he didn't play last year. But the tape that you have on him, dude can ball. I don't know what that looks like. Now I was just gonna say I don't know what that looks like on this level, but I do know that speed translates.
So you telling me to remove myself from this stream right now?
Man, you might need to
because about 72 hours ago, my mouth was watered for Ray Caesar special. I wanted the special.
I changed the channel after the Cowboys picked the guy. I changed the channel. So the whole thing Wells telling me about the guy jumping in Goodell arms, I never even saw that because I was on another planet at that moment. I had left this one. I was gone.
So what you saying to me is that you got a guy. Now, is he gonna be the best guy of your linebacker bunch?
Man,
Ash Smith, is he that guy?
To me, yes. Today. I'm talking about today. Because Vander Esch, again, like the rest of you guys just mentioned, played defense for the Dallas Cowboys in 2020. Right. That's the first thing. Second thing is he can't stay healthy to save his life. He's just an injury-prone guy. That's not even a knock on him. That's just his reality. He can't play.
He look a real Sean Lee like.
Yeah, he can't play a full season. We also just lost Sean Lee to retirement. You see what I'm saying? So it's like what we have right now is Jalen Smith, who we paid a ton of money for and has not lived up to that contract, and Vander Esch. And so what Jerry did is said, I need a guy that can go. He got that in Micah Parsons. He also went linebacker with Jabril Cox out of LSU. I think that was 4th round.
Cox is a boy now.
And he's a stud. He's a stud, man.
Could Cox be better than Parsons?
The thing that made me kind of shut down my own argument and eat my own words was both of these guys, I don't want to say specialized, but they are above average in coverage. So it's not just a big linebacker that can stop the run. It's big, fast linebackers, right? Like Jabril Cox is not the biggest guy. I think he goes like 6'4", 230, but he can run. So when you're talking about having to cover these tight ends or these slot receivers or guys out of the backfield, that's what the argument that I had when I was texting y'all and talking to my uncle. You can't cover these guys with big linebackers. Well, except if you're Micah Parsons, because you can be big and run a 4.3. And if you're Jabril Cox, maybe you're not 250 pounds, but in today's NFL, that linebacker can get it done. Again, man, I cannot believe I'm coming on this show right now and giving Jerry Jones any kind of props because y'all know how I feel about the man. The things that I feel about him, I can't even say on this show.
Y'all mark it out. Y'all mark this day.
I can't even say it on this show. But today, today, this me and Jerry Jones right here. Man, you did all right, man. You did all right. Give my hand back. Give my hand back.
Give my hand back.
Yeah, give my hand back.
You made the point that I was getting at because on this publication again, it's something that we've said. Shoot, pre-pandemic, we talked about how the elite tight end has really, I want to just say taken over the game, but how the elite tight end is like that X factor in terms of Super Bowl.
That's right.
When you look at, okay, my brother Stanley Lynn want to say that Tom Brady is the GOAT, but he had Randy Moss with him. He ain't win no Super Bowl with Randy Moss. He's won Super Bowls with arguably the GOAT tight end. We see Patrick Mahomes up here with Travis Kelce. We see y'all boys,
George Kittle,
49er, George Kittle. We see how special the tight end is. Well, Micah Parsons at 4'3".
Yeah, who covering? That's right.
At a 4'3", the some want to say sub 4'4", then you know, because he high 4'3" or whatever.
Right.
The boy moving at 246 pounds.
Bad boy. Yeah.
And I just saw how Tampa Bay's linebackers, I know Kelce ended up with a lot of yards.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they held him at bay. It was like a lot of yards, but it was like not meaningful yards. It wasn't like they were really, you know what I'm saying, doing something. Them boys were playing some defense, and those linebackers were really doing it. So,
and you know, you made an excellent comparison. Like I hit us up in the group text. I said, man, just name me an inside linebacker because I may not be thinking about it. And you gave me my guy from Tampa, Levante David. That's a fantastic. If this kid can be anywhere near that caliber of talent in the run game and the pass defense, I'll be grinning from ear to ear, man, because that is a special type of defender in today's NFL. They can rush the quarterback when you need them to on the blitz, but also they can cover in space. The thing that I saw every clip that I was able to find on Micah Parsons in the passing game in particular, the run game is no question. It's like I said, it's no question. I never doubted about that young man at all. I understood he could ball in that regard, chasing down anybody. In the passing game, when the few clips that I could find, he was always stuck to the tight end. Maybe not picking it off, maybe not batting it down, but he was always stuck on the tight end. That shows me that he understands the concept, right? He understands scheme, and he's just flat out as an athlete. So for that pick, now, again, Jerry Jones is lying when he says he wanted that kid the entire time. If you're a Cowboy fan, you know damn well he wanted Pat Surtain. Hell, Pat Surtain wanted to be with the Cowboys. He was disappointed with Denver drafting. Go back, check the tape. He was not grinning from ear to ear. He was kind of like, okay, I'm happy, but it was different because he knew we were right behind him, ready to take him.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna hit different if you get drafted by y'all. As a Packer fan, I can admit
it's gonna hit different. It's gonna hit different.
You drafted by the Cowboys.
So Surtain was ready. I think he'll be fine in Denver. I really do. I mean, just because he don't play for my team doesn't mean his skills are going to diminish. Young man's going to be a stud. But in this case, whether it be Jerry lying and said this is who he wanted the entire time, or the draft just panning out the way it did and Micah Parsons falling to him, whatever the case, I'll take it. And Jerry Jones can take the credit if I can take the wins. That's all I care about at this point, man, because like I said, everybody on that defense needs to be replaced. So Jalen Smith shouldn't be looking at this as an opportunity.
How you just dropped that hot take on us like that?
No, I'm just telling you.
Everybody got to go. All sales final.
Micah Parsons shouldn't show up and look to Jalen Smith as a mentor. Jalen Smith should see Micah Parsons and be like, "Oh man, I'm LB2 now. I'm linebacker 2." You get what I'm saying? When these guys show up now, everybody's job should be up for grabs. With Dan Quinn coming in, you know, the former Atlanta head coach, who was also defensive coordinator in Seattle when they won their Super Bowls. He has the guys that he wants now in his first year, right? He understood when he came in, he needed to fix some pieces. We went from 4-3 to 3-4. That's a totally different look, man. So you see the defensive tackles that we've pushed have played in those similar schemes. So they'll be able to come in and maybe hopefully hit the ground running. The only person, maybe two, that can come in and say, well, we're comfortable with our positions is Tank Lawrence, and that's only because he actually had a decent year last year. I still think he's below average. And then Diggs, the cornerback, Stephon Diggs' little brother. because he's going into his second year, and he actually showed some promise in his first season. And Jordan Lewis, let me take that back. Jordan Lewis had an excellent year at DB in the slot. He's not an island guy, but if you put him in the slot and give him a little help, he can do his thing. But I'm telling you, everybody else needs to be put on notice that Jerry Jones and company drafted 4 guys, 4 straight rounds for the first time since 2012. If nothing else, Jerry Jones likes points. He probably couldn't help himself sitting in that war room, but he made the right moves Thursday, Friday, Saturday, man. So shout out to Jerry Jones one time and one time only.
Shout out to Jerry.
You'll never hear it again because by the time the season starts, we'll find a way to screw it up anyway. But today,
America, do y'all know what y'all hearing right now?
You all right, man?
Do you know what y'all hearing right now?
You all right? You all right? I don't know what they're hearing right now. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
This man says, shout out to Jerry Jones.
I've seen Jerry Jones in past drafts when things don't go his way. He freak out and make that leap. The NFL is totally different than the NBA. You can't go and pick up stud free agents and expect to be competitive just like that. You got to build through this draft, man. And like I said last week, and I stand by it, and maybe this is a credit to Jerry Jones this year, the guys who know what fits their culture tend to be the ones that do it right. Those are the teams that turn out year in and year out. Maybe not going to the playoffs every year, but year in and year out, you're going to see a competitive team on the field. Seattle, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Green Bay, even though things are falling apart there. That is
don't mention us right now, Ray.
That
is a trigger.
That figure it out year in and year out.
Yeah.
Year in and year out. Sometimes even in spite of, but that's culture building. That's what I want my guys to get to. And in the meantime, between times, shout out to my guy, Michael Parsons. I never doubted you, man. I never doubted you. From the first time, Joe, from the first time I saw him. First time I said, "Hey, we on our way. We on our way."
What just happened?
That is the signal to us, America, to delete the group text.
Everybody doubted.
They make sure you delete the group text. America, we want to know Cowboys Nation. We want
never doubted you, Micah Parsons.
Want y'all to chime in and tell us what y'all think about the pick. Oh, before I get out here, we got a retired Cowboys fan over here. So I want to make sure I get him in there.
Get him in there.
Because he's slick a Cowboy fan.
Right.
I'm not, man. I'm really not, man.
You know how it is when them kids be in school and they don't want the teacher to call them to read.
Yeah.
Right he's sitting over there.
They don't want to be called to read.
No.
He said
no. He said no. Listen. I think the first time I came on this show, I had a segment about Jerry Jones and just going off. So everybody knows how I feel about him. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I think this pick was excellent on Jerry Jones' part. Here's why. I hear what you're saying about Patrick Surtain. I don't think that was the Cowboys' pick. I think they were really looking at J.C. Horn. I really think that. Because you look at Dan Quinn, he was a defensive coordinator at Florida and Seattle, but he was defensive coordinator under Will Muschamp.
Work Florida in here some kind of way.
Be quiet. Let me get my point. Will Muschamp.
Florida in here some kind of way.
Listen though.
Man,
Will Muschamp.
Excuse me, I got the flow.
Will Muschamp was a head coach at South Carolina where Jason Horn played. The transition would just been seamless. So so that's who the person they were going. But I watched this young man. I watched that young man. I put on 2 tapes last night because I knew I was coming on this show, Michael Parsons. And I watched him against Memphis and I watched him against Minnesota. And that Memphis game and what he does against the run and what he can blitz on third down. What's going to translate with this young man is what he goes one-on-one. When he's one-on-one with a guard on the blitz, he wins every time. He won every time. So you got somebody. And what you was talking about, I was going with that. I had this written down right here, Levante David. What Levante David did to Kelsey in the championship game when they just went cover 2 and told Vontae David, hey, you cannot get beat inside this game. And he went man up on him, didn't get beat inside, and they let the front 4 get after the quarterback, and that was game. That was ball game right there. And that's what this young man can do. I'm just curious on where they're going to play him, because I heard Jerry Jones talking about they're going to use him at defensive end. I don't see that. Even though he played defensive end at high school and running back, but he was all linebacker in college, so I don't see him going to defensive end route, because I don't see the moves on the edge. But I see this young man is really special, man. 4'3". I watched that Memphis game. He had 14 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, 2 pass deflections. He was all over the field, man.
I mean, how could you not pick him? That's what I'm trying. That's what I've been saying the entire time. How could you not pick him?
How could you not pick him? How could you not pick him? I know I said something later, but how could you not pick him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you not pick him?
Slater was my guy, but how could you not pick Micah Parsons?
It's something to be said. It's something to be said, though, when you have multiple like draft gurus who've been doing it for a long time, that truly say Micah Parsons is probably the most talented player in the draft.
He's the best. He's the best defensive player in the draft.
He's the best defensive player in the draft. Everybody knows you got to go get your quarterback. You got to go, get the guys. But at the end of the day, if I can go look at respected draft gurus and they say, look, man, Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in this draft regardless, man, I can sleep with that. I really can. I can lay my head down.
Here's another good thing that you guys did, because you go back 20 years ago before we went quarterback heavy in the front of the draft. That young man would have been a top 3 pick or top 5 pick. No question. LeVar Arrington, that was a comparison. He was number 2 pick. Mm-hmm. That young man would have went top 5, and y'all traded back to take him at what, 12?
Yes, all that was adding to my feud too. We traded with the Eagles and let them get Devontae Smith. I said, how we gonna let them get Devontae Smith if we have nobody to cover Devontae Smith? Help me figure that out. So I was all over that. I was there with that. Oh man.
But here's the thing: the Eagles don't have anybody to get him the ball. I don't agree with. I don't feel Jalen Hurts.
I ain't gonna give up on Hurts. I ain't gonna give up on Hurts, because one thing that boy can do, he can move, he can run, he can get away, he can escape. I'm not gonna do that to him.
And for me, America, this is just a lesson, America, in understanding a couple of things. One, before you flip out, take a step back, reset. I spent the entire 2020 season saying our defense was trash. The stats back it up. So there's no way that I can be upset with the Cowboys drafting the top defensive player in the draft. If I can go on record for saying that the defense is historically trash, then I should be really excited about the idea of Jerry Jones saying, not only will I draft the best guy available, but the best defensive player in this draft. And he got it right. I never doubted Micah Parsons, man. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna look back at this. We're all just gonna have a good laugh, man, because how can you doubt a guy like Micah Parsons? What are we doing? What are we doing right now? This was a waste. This is a waste of a segment, man. It's a waste of a segment.
We gonna leave it at that, America. We not even go. We not even gonna get into that. We're gonna let them make it with that. But we want y'all to chime in. Cowboys,
how can you doubt Micah Parsons?
Football America, y'all tell us how y'all felt about the Cowboys pick. Put it on something. My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me across all social media platforms. Like the videos and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit Statement Tees, LLC.com, and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.